Watching a rival celebrate a Super Bowl is brutal no matter what, but watching the Seattle Seahawks lift the Lombardi Trophy on the 49ers' home field hits on a completely different level. That's the kind of image that sticks with you, the kind you don't just shake off by changing the channel. As a 49ers fan, it feels wrong, almost unreal, and if you felt that pit in your stomach seeing it happen at Levi's Stadium, trust me, you're not alone. This wasn't just another team winning it all. This was a division rival, a team you see twice a year planting their flag in your house and saying they've passed you. And that's why the Super Bowl feels bigger than just one game. It's not only about Seattle winning, it's about what it forces the 49ers to confront. When you step back and really look at it, this moment raises an uncomfortable question. Is this just bad timing, injuries, and football randomness? Or is there something deeper going on with how the 49ers are building and developing their team? Because when a rival not only beats you but wins a championship with a formula that looks painfully familiar, it's fair to wonder if the gap is quietly shifting. What made it sting even more is how Seattle won. They didn't need fireworks. They didn't need their quarterback to put up video game numbers. They won with defense, physicality, discipline, and by asking their offense to do just enough. If that sounds familiar, it should, because that's the same identity 49ers fans have, celebrated for years. Seeing it work for Seattle on the biggest stage forces an honest reflection about where San Francisco stands right now. I want to know how you felt in that moment. Be real in the comments. Was this just another Super Bowl you shrugged off, or did this one bother you more than usual? And if you had to answer yes or no, does this loss feel different than past seasons ending in disappointment? Drop your answer below because that fan perspective matters here. As frustrating as it is, this isn't a video about panicking, firing everyone, or pretending the sky is falling. It's about looking at the reality in front of us and asking the right questions. The Seahawks didn't accidentally stumble into this. They built something that clearly works, and whether we like it or not, the 49ers now have to respond. If you're into honest, level-headed 49ers conversations like this all offseason, make sure you're subscribed and help us push toward 1,000 subscribers. And if this topic already has you thinking, hit like so more Niners fans see it. Coming up next, we're going to break down exactly why Seattle won this Super Bowl and why the way they did it should feel uncomfortably familiar if you follow the 49ers closely. When you strip away the emotions and look purely at how Seattle won the Super Bowl, it becomes even more unsettling from a 49ers perspective. This wasn't a game where the Seahawks needed to light up the scoreboard or ask their quarterback to carry them. It was controlled, methodical, and physical from start to finish. Their defense dictated everything. They took away explosive plays, forced long drives, and never let the Patriots find any kind of rhythm. If you're a 49ers fan, you've seen that exact script before, and for years it was San Francisco running it on everyone else. Seattle didn't try to be something they weren't. They leaned fully into their identity. The defense overwhelmed the opposing offense, the run game stayed efficient, and the quarterback was asked to manage the game instead of dominate it. That formula doesn't just win games, it wins championships when it's executed at a high level, and watching it unfold, it felt eerily similar to the way the Seahawks played the 49ers during the season. Nothing flashy, just suffocating football that slowly breaks you down. That's where the discomfort really sets in. This Seattle defense isn't just good. It's built to cause problems specifically for the 49ers. The way they crowd the line of scrimmage, disguise pressure, and take away the middle of the field directly attacks the structure of Kyle Shanahan's offense. But the scary part is this. It didn't just work against San Francisco, it worked against everyone. That's how you know it's not a matchup fluke. It's a system that translates. You could see it in how little Seattle asked from their quarterback. They trusted the defense completely. There was no panic, no forcing throws, no feeling like they had to outscore anyone. That kind of confidence comes from knowing your team can win in multiple ways, and right now, that's where the comparison starts to get uncomfortable for the 49ers. Because as good as San Francisco has been, there have been moments where it feels like they need everything to go perfectly to win, while Seattle just needs to be themselves. Let me ask you this, because I'm genuinely curious where you land. Do you think Seattle's defense was truly elite, Or did the Patriots' offense make them look better than they are? If you had to choose one, which is it? And while you're at it, does this Seahawks team remind you of past 49ers Super Bowl teams, or do you think that comparison is overblown? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this is where the debate really starts. If you're enjoying this kind of breakdown and want more off-season coverage that actually digs into the why, not just the headlines, make sure you're subscribed and help us get closer to 1,000 subscribers. Give the video a like if this conversation feels real to you. Up next, we're shifting the focus back where it belongs, on the 49ers themselves, and asking the question that might matter most this offseason: are they starting to fall behind when it comes to developing their own talent? This is where the conversation gets uncomfortable, because once you stop talking about Seattle and turn the lens back on the 49ers, some real questions start to surface. For all the talent San Francisco has accumulated, there's a growing feeling that not enough of it is being fully developed, especially when it comes to young players who are supposed to become difference makers. And this isn't about one draft pick or one season, it's about a pattern that's becoming harder to ignore. Start with the pass rush. Outside of Nick Bosa, how many edge rushers have truly taken a leap in recent years? The 49ers have spent real draft capital on defensive linemen with size, athleticism, and upside, yet too many of them stall out without adding reliable pass rush moves. You see flashes, you see effort, but you don't see consistent growth. And that's where frustration sets in for fans, because teaching technique should be one of the most coachable parts of football. When physically gifted players aren't expanding their toolbox, it naturally raises questions about development. The same concern creeps into the offensive side of the ball, especially at wide receiver. The hit rate hasn't been great. There have been moments where backups step up and produce, which proves the system can generate numbers, but that's different from developing a player into someone defenses actually fear. Too often it feels like the 49ers are waiting for players to arrive already polished instead of turning raw talent into high-end contributors. That approach works when you're healthy and stacked, but it leaves very little margin for error when injuries hit, which we've seen firsthand. This is why the idea of process over results keeps coming up. The 49ers process has kept them competitive, no doubt about it. They're consistently in the playoff mix. But development is part of that process, and when young players don't grow the way you expect, the ceiling of the team starts to flatten out. Meanwhile, teams like Seattle are taking players and clearly leveling them up within their system, especially on defense. I want your take on this because this is where fan perspective really matters. Name one young 49ers player you expected more from this season, whether that's on defense or offense. And if you had to answer yes or no, do you think player development is a real issue for this team, or is it being blown out of proportion? Let me know where you stand in the comments. If you appreciate conversations that don't just chase hot takes but actually dig into what's going on, make sure you're subscribed and help us push toward that 2,000 subscriber goal. A like goes a long way in getting this discussion in front of more 49ers fans. Coming up next, we're going to talk about Kyle Shanahan, the idea of process over results, and whether the offense has hit a ceiling that's making life easier for defenses like Seattle's. See, when the conversation shifts to Kyle Shanahan, it always gets complicated because you're talking about one of the best offensive minds in football, but also someone whose philosophy might need a hard look right now. The idea of process over results makes a lot of sense, especially when you've been as consistently competitive as the 49ers have been. Playoff appearances, deep runs, always being in the mix. That doesn't happen by accident. But process only works if it evolves, and that's where the questions start to creep in. The 49ers offense has a very specific way it wants to win. It's built on running the ball, creating play action, and forcing defenses to play disciplined football for 4 quarters. When everything is clicking, it's beautiful. The problem is what happens when things aren't perfect. When the run game stalls, when injuries hit, or when a defense like Seattle's takes away your first and second options, the offense can start to feel boxed in. Defenses don't look afraid of the idea that the 49ers will just spread it out and throw on them for an entire game. That's not a knock on talent, it's a philosophical ceiling. Right now, it feels like the offense needs specific conditions to thrive, instead of being able to impose its will no matter what the defense does. Compare that to what we just watched from Seattle. They didn't care how the game looked. They could win ugly, they could win slow, they could win without asking their quarterback to be the hero. That flexibility is what separates really good teams from teams that finish the job. This is where the idea of being more multiple comes into play. Imagine an offense that can line up and run the ball effectively, but can also say, "We're throwing it 40 times today," and you can't stop it. Right now, most defenses aren't losing sleep over that possibility when they prepare for San Francisco. That should concern the 49ers because unpredictability is power in this league. Let me know where you stand on this. Do you trust Kyle Shanahan to evolve the offense and add new layers to it, or do you think this system has already shown you what it is? And if you had to choose one focus for the offseason, would you rather see a true number one wide receiver added or major investment in the offensive line? Drop your answer in the comments. If this breakdown is hitting home, make sure you like the video and subscribe to help us reach 2,000 subscribers. We've got a lot more off-season conversations coming, and the next one is a big one. Coming up, we're going to talk about what this Seahawks Super Bowl really means for the 49ers moving forward, and why this offseason might be one of the most important of the Kyle Shanahan era. This is why the Seahawks winning a Super Bowl can't just be brushed off as bad luck or timing. It puts real pressure on the 49ers, not to panic, but to respond. When a division rival climbs the mountain, especially one you see twice a year, it forces you to take an honest look at where you stand. The gap isn't massive, but it's real, and how the 49ers handle this offseason is going to say a lot about the direction of this team. The good news is the foundation is still strong. The 49ers aren't starting from scratch. They have a franchise quarterback, elite stars, and a coaching staff that knows how to win. But the margin for error is shrinking. Other teams in the division are getting faster, more physical, and more adaptable. That means San Francisco can't rely on doing things the same way and expecting different results, whether it's evolving the offense, improving player development, or being more aggressive in the draft and free agency. Something has to give. This offseason feels like a defining moment, not because the 49ers are broken, but because they're at a crossroads. They can double down on what they've always done and hope health and timing finally line up, or they can take the next step and modernize how they attack teams that are built specifically to stop them. That decision will determine whether this team is just a perennial contender or a champion again. I want to hear your perspective on this. If you could make one move this offseason, just one, what would it be to close the gap with Seattle? And do you believe the 49ers can reclaim the NFC West next season, yes or no? Let me know in the comments because this conversation doesn't end here. If you've enjoyed this breakdown and you want to stay locked in all offseason, make sure you're subscribed and help us hit that 2,000 subscriber goal. Like the video if you want to see more honest 49ers discussions without the noise. We've got draft talk, free agency, and big decisions ahead, and this channel is going to be right in the middle of all of it.